All right, and happy Sunday. Don't forget to do your Sunday reset. We are back with another episode of Talks with Ken, unpacking life situations together. So I have I don't know if I have a story. It's not really a story, I guess you could say. But for me, what I've noticed when dealing with people and when you set your boundaries, the moment you start setting your boundaries and standing on your business is the moment you become the villain in everybody's story. And the thing about boundaries is, I personally feel like when you set boundaries with people, friendships, relationships, dating, all of that, work relationships, all of that, right? You're protecting your peace in a sense. I feel like you're protecting your energy, if that makes sense. So we're gonna get into the episode, and I prepared for this episode, so hopefully I don't ramble. I'm proud of myself. I prepared again, guys. And I feel like I'm still gonna ramble, but I got my little notebook. I got 3 pages of notes, so we're gonna get into it. So like I said before, when you set clean cut and clear boundaries when it comes to people, you literally become the villain, because now all of a sudden all of these people feel some type of way because you're creating a barrier between what you allow in your life and what you allow just in general when it comes to you, right? So when I did the research on boundaries and stuff like that, there are 8 types of boundaries: physical, emotional, verbal, time, work, and financial. And I can actually get into what each one is now. So the first one is physical. Obviously, you're protecting your personal space and your body. If you don't a boundary for some people is they don't want to be hugged. They don't want to be touched. That's not their zhuzh. You can't just be oh, hey, and touch them. No, don't do that. Another boundary is emotional. Protecting your thoughts and your feelings. I know a lot of people, when it comes to expressing themselves, they feel like they get dismissed, whether it's in friendships, family relationships, dating relationships. A lot of people feel like their feelings get dismissed. So a boundary, and I think that's for me too. I feel like a boundary for me, one of my boundaries is definitely one of my boundaries that I have for other people is don't dismiss how I feel even though you don't agree with it. Don't diminish how I feel because you don't agree with it. You have the right to not agree, but you don't have the right to dismiss what the hell I'm telling you. You have a right not even wanting to listen to how I feel about the situation at hand, but you don't have a right to dismiss what I'm saying because you don't agree with it. Another boundary is verbal. And it's protect how we speak and what we discuss, and also how people speak to you. And I'm actually learning that even for myself. That's a boundary that I set for myself, because I know for me, my mouth can be very, very, very lethal. And I'm trying to be better at that, because it's just like I said in my last episode, I believe not everything needs a reaction. Not everything needs to be a moment. Not everything, you don't gotta take it there when it comes to every little thing. You just don't. Another boundary that people have is their time, and it's protecting how I spend my time, protecting my time not being wasted. And that's a really big thing for me. That's a boundary that I also have for people. Respect my time, respect what I got going on, respect that I'm a single mom and I don't have a lot of time, for one. And if you choose not to deal with that and me not having a lot of time, then that's fine, but respect it. Don't waste my time. Don't tell me we're going to do this on this day, and the day comes and I'm like, hey, so I'll be on my way in this amount of time, and I get there and you're running 30 minutes late and you don't communicate. Or you wait till the day of to say, oh, I can't because of blah, blah. You're not respecting my time. Because I feel like in most cases, people are able to, I feel like in most instances, people are able to communicate ahead of time whether something is going wrong as far as time wise. So respect my time, I respect your time, and don't waste my time, and I won't waste your time. And that's on Mary Had a Little Lamb. Work. The next boundary is work, and I agree with this because especially since when I worked in retail, there was no boundaries. Like nobody had any boundaries. Everybody was all in everybody's. That's a whole different episode. I have so many story times like from when I used to work in retail. It's crazy. But like nobody especially at my last job in retail, nobody respected each other's boundaries. Everybody was like, I get everybody gossips and stuff, like, but there were no boundaries respected. Like, just plain and simple. Like, as far as management was concerned, there was no boundaries, none. So, like, when it comes to work, you set clear boundaries. I'm the type of person where at work, my outside life, my outside relationships, if I'm dating somebody, if I'm in a relationship with somebody, that's off limits. I don't talk about that at work unless I deem us to be, like, cool or friends or close in some way, shape, or form. If we're not that, I'm not talking about my personal dating relationship with you because I feel like there's no need to. You're not somebody that I talk to on a daily basis or damn near on a daily basis. Spiritual, meaning protecting my values and what I believe in. A lot of people also dismiss people's spiritual values and things like that. As far as when it comes to that, it's like they cross a line just because you don't agree with somebody else's spiritual values or what they got going on spiritually or whatever. Yeah, it's a fine line between respecting what somebody got going on and not respecting what somebody got going on. The next one is financial, protecting my money and my assets. And that's a big one because people are always asking somebody for money. And if and for me now, the boundary that I set for myself is to not give out nobody no more money. Like, I'm generous, I'm nice, I don't mind helping somebody, I don't mind giving somebody my last, but I had to set that boundary because it's just like, you have to think about you. And although you are a nice person and you may give your last, sometimes people know that and they use that to their advantage because they know you will give them their last. So yeah, financial is definitely a big one. And then the last one is situational, I believe. I can't read my own handwriting, but the last one is situational and is protecting my safety and my preferences, if that makes sense. So a boundary of mine is if I'm not familiar with it for real, if I don't know too many people there and I don't feel comfortable, I'm not going. And you can't make me go. Like, yeah, that's just what that is. So those are the 8 types of boundaries that we just went through. And I think what having a boundary means for me is pretty much a protective barrier in a sense. It's like, me personally, it's to weed out the unhealthy people in my life. Not necessarily putting up a wall in a sense to like be on guard, but definitely protecting my peace. And as I've gotten older, especially like in these last couple of months, I've definitely been like setting boundaries when it comes to people that I deal with. Like, I can give an example. There was a situation that actually recently just happened at work. Me and this girl, we became cool. Over the course of the first year that I've been there, I've officially made a year. And me and her, became cool or whatever the case may be. And one night we were working and I guess she felt that I was talking about her or made some type of comment towards her, made a face or whatever the case may be. And she ended up getting her feelings. Okay. We were in a group talking and she walks up to the group, talks to 2 people out of the group that I'm in, and tells them bad, tells the other person bad, and she like completely ignores me. And a comment that I made out loud that I knew she heard or could have heard, I don't know, was, "She don't see me standing here?" And the person that she was talking to literally turned to me and was like, "I know, right?" And then turned back and finished talking to her. So I was like, okay, cool. So as we're leaving work, and we meet up with another coworker, and we're all walking out together, me and the woman that said I know, right? She walks up, we're walking with her, and the coworker that I was just with when we were in that group, she was like, did such and such come up and talk to you? And she was like, yeah, she had an attitude talking about people was being fake and phony and blah, 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 blah. So I'm like, okay. So I was like, you know what? I'm not dealing with this tonight. I'm going to my car. Now, mind you, sometimes after work, I usually sit there and I talk for a couple of minutes, and we sit there and talk. It's been cold as hell in Chicago, but we still sit there and talk for a couple of minutes before we all go on our merry little ways and go home and stuff like that. So they go get in the car with her, smoke their weed or whatever the case may be after work. I don't smoke, so I usually just stand there while they smoking and we all just talking. But that night, I was like, I'm not doing this. Like, I genuinely just don't give a damn. So I went to my car and I left. I get to where I get home, and the girl sends me a text at 4 something like, hey, I apologize, I was in my feelings, blah, blah. I saw the text. I ignored the text. Cool. I get another text again at 11 a.m. Hey, can we talk tonight at work? I was in my feelings, blah, 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 and I just feel like I fucked up. Now, a boundary that I have and that I set and I make clear with everybody that comes into my life. If you have an issue with me, don't make slick comments. Don't talk about the situation with nobody else. I'm not saying you can't talk about the situation and how you feel with somebody else. That's what I'm not gonna say that, because I, talk to other people when I feel some type of way to get some type of clarity so I can know how to approach the situation. So I'm not gonna say you can't, talk to somebody and this is that a third. But I will say, if I find out you make slick comments, that's a deal breaker for me. You didn't cross the boundary, because I just feel like we are adults at the end of the day. And although we are entitled to how we feel, although we are entitled to, a plethora of things, where I draw the line is you making a slick ass comment and then it gets back to me. So when we got to work, I did not talk to her that night. And another boundary that I set as well is, if you are the cause of the rift between us and I've done nothing to you, because I didn't do anything to her. If you are the cause of the rift between the both of us and I did nothing to you because you conjured up whatever you conjured up in your head because you felt like I was talking about you, I'm not approaching you to fix the problem. I'm not going to be the bigger person because I wasn't the one that started the issue. If I started the issue, obviously I'll be the one to fix it. So we get to work the next night. Me and her did not talk that entire night. Me personally, I really didn't care. I was done with the situation, but the fake and phony comment bothered me. Like, it rubbed me the wrong way. I didn't like that. So the next day, so that night, somebody talked to me about the situation. Somebody that was close to her talked to me about the situation. And they were like, can you just text him and say, y'all good, blah, blah. I said, we are good. I don't have to respond or whatever. But he was pretty much like, she'll think something is wrong with her. I'm like, okay, I say we good. I sent the text and was like, we all good, no issues. Cool. I'm thinking it's done. She still wants to talk about it. She's like, well, can we talk Monday? Yeah. I personally really didn't want to talk about it. I didn't see a need to talk about it. You apologized twice in text messages and I said we was cool. I didn't understand what the need for her to talk about it, but I allowed her to talk about it. So we get to work on Monday. She sends me a text. She come find me. And she apologizes. I let her know, like, yo, I didn't like the fake and phony comment. I really didn't give a damn that you ignored me when you walked away. That's nothing to me. What I cared about was the comment. I don't fuck with it. And when people do things like that or make comments like that, I don't mess with them the same. I just genuinely don't, because it's just like, if it happens once, it can happen again, and that's from experience as well. So that's my boundary. When you do some shit like that, I'm cool. Like, I talk to you, I could be cordial, but that building of a bond, that building of a friendship that was progressing or happening, it has come to an immediate halt for me. And it's not saying that I did not forgive her apology, because I did. I accepted her apology and I appreciated that she took accountability for her actions, but I can still appreciate that and go about my life. So like, there are different types of, okay, Train. There are different types of boundaries. There are friendship boundaries, there are dating boundaries, and there are relationship boundaries. So I'm gonna go through each one. So I think, so friendship boundaries pretty much are like guidelines that establish expectations and personal limits for how you want to be treated. Like, you set the tone for what type of friendships you have and what you allow in your friendships. I know for me in the past, in my friendships, not in all of them, but in certain ones, I think for me a boundary is, if you always call me and you feel like you need to vent and all of this, that's fine. But the moment I start to vent, or want to get advice, and you like hop off the phone, or I gotta go, and don't want to talk about it, that's I don't know if that's necessarily a boundary though. But I do notice that I cut it off. Like, I don't allow people to do that anymore. If I notice that pattern, I address it. And I let you know, like, hey, this is what happens every time, we talk. And if there's no change behavior and you've continued to, in a sense, ignore what I've said, then, I don't rock with it. So like, and I think for me too, a boundary that I have clear and set in my friendships is, if you do wrong, you got to take accountability. If I do wrong, I have to take accountability. There is no teetering the fence. Ain't none of that. You take accountability, I take accountability. Another big boundary for me is, if I tell you something and you go and tell somebody else something, and I hear that you told somebody else something, that friend, I'm never telling you nothing ever again, and our friendship won't progress. And that, like, we could be associates. Because a huge boundary of mine is confidentiality and trust and honesty. If I cannot trust you to keep my secrets, if I cannot trust you to not tell my business, I'm cool on you. We good. We don't gotta talk, boo. You got it. And I think too, a big part of a boundary for me in my friendships, relationships, dating ships, is literal communication. I'm very big on communication. If there is an issue, let's communicate it. Let's work it out. Let's figure it out. I feel like I said before in one of my episodes, anything can be solved with with communication. You come to a resolve in some way, shape, or form. Whether y'all decide to be cool again, whether y'all decide to separate, or whether y'all decide to both apologize and work towards, being better people for each other, if y'all gonna be in each other's life. So like, yeah, those are those are boundaries. As far as dating, a boundary that I have when I'm dating somebody, I feel like I'm repeating myself, but it's the same thing. Don't dismiss my emotions. Communicate properly. When it comes to like sex and stuff like that, I just feel like in my experience in fucking dating and dealing with men, I've experienced them wanting to just sleep with you. And like, the thing about it is this: when I'm dating, or when I'm trying to talk to somebody, or when I'm whatever, right? And we cool, we got a vibe, we this, we that, and then we get to the part where it's like, okay, well, what do you want out of this? And then they say, oh, I just want somebody, I want to, spend time with them and get to know them, and this is that, and third. My boundary is, if you're gonna date me, we're not finna act like we're in a relationship and not say we're in a relationship, babe. So that means you don't get certain access to me. You don't get to be like, oh, well, I'm sleeping with her, but we're not in a relationship, but we having sex. Or she doing X, Y, and Z for me, but we're not in a relationship. But you know, we acting like the boundary for me is we ain't acting. We not finna pretend like we in a relationship, and then when some shit go wrong, it's, oh, well, we wasn't in a relationship. Oh, no, bitch. Okay. You know, we're gonna discuss it. What the hell are we doing? Are we exclusively dating? Are we non-exclusive? Like, yeah, that's a boundary for me. It ain't no, oh, we finna go with the flow type shit. I'm not a go with the, I've never been a go with the flow type person. I'm trying to learn to be a go with the flow type person, but baby, I ain't her, she ain't me, and that ain't it. So with that being said, I like to be clear when I'm dating somebody. I don't want to be up in the air and be like, oh, where I'm thinking one thing and he thinking another thing, and then we ain't on the same wavelength. No, boo. No. Get it together. So yeah, as far as that, the dating, my boundaries is we need to be motherfucking clear. We need to be clear. And like I said, another big one is my time. Don't waste my time. Don't piss me off. Don't piss me off. The moment your pattern shows that you ain't valuing my time is the moment I'm gonna be Casper, the not so friendly ghost. Deuces. Bye. See you when I see you. Because no ma'am. No sir. I kind of went on a tangent, but that's both for relationship and dating, if I do say so myself. I think a relationship, it's the same thing. It's just personal space too, except my boundary of personal space, because I know a lot of times in relationships people are all up under each other and they want to be around each other, but I get in my moods, especially when I'm about to come on my damn period. I get in my moods where I just don't want to be bothered. I don't know what it is, and I think all girls go through this. I get super duper uber emotional. I don't want to be bothered. Like, anything you say to me when I'm about to start my period and when I'm on my period, my irritation level is heightened and I need space. And I actually now I let that be known. Like, if I'm dealing with a man and we've dated or whatever the case may be, or we're dating, and I let him know, like, from when we talking, I get irritated. I get so agitated when my period is on. I don't know what it is. Everybody irritates me. The sight of people irritates me. People are stupid. I mean, people are stupid anyway, but like their stupidity is heightened when I'm on my period, right? And I just don't want to deal with you sometimes. Or sometimes, you know, I can cry and I need you to not ask questions. Just let me cry. I can be emotional and just let me be emotional. As long as I'm not like taking nothing out on you, just let me be. Give me a box of tissues and let's call it a day, you know? So yeah, as far as that, now I want to get to the boundaries that I've actually set for myself when dealing with other people, because I never even thought about setting boundaries for myself until like I actually sat back and thought, like, you set boundaries for other people, but what are the boundaries that you set for yourself? So my first boundary that I have is I'm not sending men long ass paragraphs no more. That's dead. We're not doing that no more. I'm not about to explain to you what you probably already know 9 times out of 10. I'm not gonna go back and I'm not sending no long ass paragraph explaining how I feel and how you hurt my feelings and this is that and the third, after probably I've already explained to you maybe 2 or 3 times prior without giving you a long ass paragraph. For me, you're not gonna make me feel like I'm begging you to see you, to spend time with you, to communicate. I'm not doing that. So if you can't get it right, the first I give you 2 times that I mention it and it ain't right, I'm not sending you no long paragraph. I'm gonna slowly just step away. I'm not finna beg you for your time and beg you to cooperate by sending a long ass paragraph. That's just not, no, I'm not doing that. Another boundary that I set for myself is loaning people money. I've loaned people so much money over the course of the years, and I'm not saying this to be like, oh, I did this for this person and did this for that person, but it's just like, one, when you loan people money and they say they're gonna pay you back, 9 times out of 10 they don't really fucking pay you back. That's one. Two, once you loan people money and you continue to loan them money, the amount starts getting bigger and bigger and bigger. I remember I loaned my friend money for a rental car, and I still have yet to get that money back, and I loaned her that money back in 2020. So I don't loan people money anymore at all. Even if I got it, I don't got it. I don't have it. Another boundary that I've set for myself is just because you said sorry does not give you a pass. People feel like because they've took accountability and apologized for the situation after they've done something to you or did you dirty in some way, shape, or form, that just because they took the accountability and said sorry that you're supposed to fuck with them the same way. No, you don't have to do that. And that's what I was trying to get to. That's what I was trying to explain to my coworker last night when he was like, well, you're not letting the situation go. I let it go. I accepted her apology. I accepted her. I love that she took accountability because she has an avoidant personality and she didn't avoid the situation. She actually accepted the accountability, and I'm proud of her for that. But that does not mean I have to fuck with her the same way, because she still rubbed me the same way. She still rubbed me the wrong way at the end of the day. At the end of the day, she rubbed me the wrong way. It left a bad taste in my mouth. I let her know that it left a bad taste in my mouth, and I'm cool. I can be friends with her. I can be work friends with her. We can be cordial. But all that texting outside of work and shit, all of that, oh, let's try to hang out and get together and do this, I don't want to do none of that. Because I just feel like I feel weird now. Now, this could pass because this is still fresh. It could very well pass. But right now, what I'm sitting in is I'm cool. So just because somebody apologizes to me does not mean that, you know, they should have entry access back into my life the way they did. And I think too, when it comes to certain situations, I think a boundary of mine that I set for myself is stop ignoring the red flags when it comes to people. Just because you want to see the good in people or you want to see the potential in people, that don't mean a goddamn thing if they're not putting into action the potential that they could possibly reach, right? So stop pouring into people that don't want to pour into themselves. I got that bad. I got that Captain Save-A-Ho spirit real bad. The boundary is, if you are dealing with somebody and they don't want to progress on their own and you have to continue to push and push and push, stop. Because they don't want to be pushed. Because if they did, the first time that you pushed them or the first time that you said, hey, I'll help you, they probably would have thrown something into action. If you're dealing with somebody and you notice that you're dealing with somebody and they're not trying to be better, do better, get better, let them be. I think another boundary that I set for myself is I have a real bad habit of holding in my emotions, and because I genuinely, even though I am confrontational, I don't like conflict, especially with people that I care about. So like my boundary that I set for myself is that when someone does cross one of my boundaries and they don't know about it, I make them aware of it. That way it's not like, oh, you did this one thing and you ain't know about this boundary that I had, but you still did it, and I'm cutting you off. No. If you do something and you don't know that it's a boundary, after I calm down, I can say, hey, I don't like this thing that you did because it's a trigger for me, or hey, I don't like this thing because of X, Y, and Z, and I let that person know so that they don't either do it again or that they're aware that they actually hurt my feelings or whatever the case may be. And I think I said this already, that if you do something wrong to me, I'm not approaching you to fix it because I did nothing wrong to you. And then another boundary that I have, and this is a dating, this is a dating and a friendship one, reciprocity. If you can't reciprocate the energy that I give you, or you're not ready for the energy that I give you, and you can't reciprocate it, I'm cool. You're good. That's fine. That's my boundary that I set for myself. If I notice that you're not on the same wavelength that I am on when it comes to reciprocity, when it comes to being considerate, when it comes to being having empathy or whatever the case may be, that's okay. No one is going to fault you for that. But because you don't have that same energy, I'm cool on you. So just be mindful, people. Like, what are your boundaries? What are your boundaries that you set for other people? And then what are boundaries that you set for yourself when dealing with other people, so that you can hold yourself accountable for the things that you do on a day-to-day basis as well. So to end the episode, I'm gonna say the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 benefits of having boundaries, and then we're gonna go into our quotes. So the first benefit is you have decreased stress. Statistically proven, when I looked up the statistics on it, I should have wrote the numbers down and I didn't. When you set clear cut, clean, concise boundaries for yourself and other people, you're less stressed, because you don't have to worry about all these different type of emotions and feelings that you may feel because somebody done did something to you. You good. If people can't respect your boundaries when it comes to certain things, they gotta go. It's plain and simple. And you won't feel burnt out as well, because you have all these emotions and you have like this worry or whatever. You won't feel burnt out. And then you'll have the respect from others, and you'll have your own self-respect, because you're holding people accountable for their actions, and then you're holding yourself accountable for your own actions. Another one is improved self-care capabilities. I think that I feel like, honestly, when you thrive in healthy environments, and setting boundaries could be a healthy environment, when you thrive in healthy environments, your self-care goes up 10,000 points each time. Because I feel like when you feel better, when you feel good, you look good. And when you look good, that means you're taking care of yourself in the way that you need to be taking care of yourself. I feel like when you're stressed out and you're worried about different people around you and this is that and the third, you are very much, you know what I'm saying? So it's just like you feel better. Another healthy aspect of creating boundaries is you have clear expectations of people, and they have clear expectations of you. And then the last one is you have improved relationships. People that respect you and care about you and want to see you thrive will respect the boundaries that you set in place, and vice versa. So yeah, and I want to throw another tad bit in there when it comes to boundaries. I think boundaries is a real huge thing, especially when it comes to breaking generational curses. A lot of us grew up in situations where our family was, one way growing up, and we saw a lot of things growing up when it comes to family and how they talked to us, how they treated us, what they did. I think a big thing when it comes to boundaries is breaking a generational curse, especially for me, because I even when I was younger, dealing with aunts and my grandma on my mom's side, and hearing things that were being said, and witnessing things that were being done. I think for me as a mom and as a daughter and as a friend, I want to be better than what I saw. And as I'm older, I've separated myself from certain family members because of things that happened in my childhood, because of things that they've said, because it's just like, you crossed the boundary when I was younger. And when I was younger, I probably couldn't, I guess you could say, voice it the way I needed to voice it or wanted to voice it, because I was a child and needed to stay in a child's place. But now that I'm an adult and I'm about to enter into my 30s, I have a clear and concise boundary. I've cut majority of them off. And that was the best thing that I could have did for me. So, hey. So the quote of the day is, beware of what is unacceptable and normalize saying no. Do what is best for you and know that it is not your responsibility to sacrifice yourself for others. So, with that being said, think about the type of boundaries that you want to set in your life. Think about the type of boundaries that you want to set for others that are in your life. And think about how certain things that people do affect you, and learn what the triggers are so that you can set the boundaries. I thank you guys so much for listening to this week's episode. Hopefully this helps somebody in some way, shape, or form. And I hope you all listen next week. Don't forget to do your Sunday reset. get ready for the week, wash your clothes, clean your room, clean the kitchen, clean your house, do whatever you do to get ready for your week. And I hope you guys have a great week. I did not go to therapy this past Friday, but I will be going this Friday. And you guys will hear about that session in the next episode. So happy Sunday.